I think what your client said last fall will help people decide if they trust him. It's not just his lawyers either. He does pay those lawyers though. In his name, they're saying. If the claim is that he took that claim off, then that claim is not true. There are major new claims today that Combs assaulted and exploited women. There are 25 minors out of 120 clients. The courtroom is full, and the guy is sure he's not guilty. Our guy Diddy is here, and his lawyer says he's ready to tell his story. The goal seems to be more than just clearing his name. It's also to stand up for everyone the government has ever attacked. Well, a lawyer just now leaked arrest warrants for Hollywood stars who are linked to Diddy. Will the shocking facts that come out of this trial destroy Diddy's business more than anyone could have imagined? Yes, Mr. Lee, Thanks, I really enjoy this drink. I like it when you act like this, Dad. Yes, when you put my bag in. Daddy, I like it when you have to dig around for stuff. No, that's nice. I'm going to practice. His lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, is very excited and using words like possibility of life in federal prison a lot. There's no doubt that this guy is trying to shock and awe you. It looks like Diddy really wants to tell everything. He sounds like the hearing is going to be like an Oscar-winning play from his lawyer. You might cry, say something, or even dance. Who knows? We're sure things will get messy. It has nothing to do with the crime case at all. What kind of case did they file against Mr. Combs? She was in a band, and another member of the band says, I was in the same band she was, and I saw none of the things she's complaining about this caused her to stand up and say something. Her name is not a witness. She is not a witness for the government. This is where we are. Diddy is in a lot of trouble. It's not just any trouble either. We're talking about a scandal that could destroy lives and show how dirty Hollywood really is. There are new facts that could bring down some of the biggest names in the business along with him. Stay tuned, because this isn't just a headline if you like star drama. This breakdown will shake the whole business world. Let it go on and didn't say anything? Didn't get involved and maybe even gain from it. All of these people and things, in my opinion. Tony Busby is one of the experts who has weighed in on this case. Getting attention is nothing new for him. He's also been pretty clear. He made it sound like this isn't just about getting rid of one man. Busby seems to be saying that other places like restaurants, banks, and so on could also be blamed. And it's impossible to know how deep this goes if those big names are involved. There is a chance that this whole show will be about more than just a star trial. It might also turn into a business smackdown. I think it was said that a bigger star. Then don't be silly, the government has that person on tape. It's a little different when you're riding metal suits, but the feds have something when they come after you, and that's wrong. His defense team is trying to show everyone that the government is targeting him unfairly. It seems like those attorneys can't wait to get a big conviction so that their names are known. They have been waiting for him to go after them. The lawyers are trying to make this look like it's a personal grudge or an attempt to get attention by the people who are meant to do the right thing. To put it another way, everyone is out for themselves. I mean, I hit rock bottom, but I'm not sorry. What I did in that video is unacceptable. Now, his team says that unlike other high-profile cases in the past few years, this one doesn't involve children. It's almost like they want to say, hey, we're not that bad. The whole defense plan seems to be based on keeping him from being linked to the really big crimes. Yeah, this does have some shady material, but they swear it doesn't break any laws. It's very clear what the meaning is. Doubtful choices about how to live? Of course, feds crimes, they won't let it happen. Mr. Motel 6, keep those lights on and go on a date with a girl that night. She got a boyfriend when she was 5 years old. I thought, okay, I'll try to be the S, but then there was the big question, will taking the stand make things better or worse for him? Is he really going to make things better? Or is this the moment when everything is finally shown? How much of his response is really about showing that he's not like other people who have been caught in scandals? Try to stay away from those R comparisons between Kelly and Epstein. It looks a little risky, let's be honest. His defense is based on the idea that he was just mistaken. You're already in a pretty bad spot when you need to start your argument with, hey, I'm not that guy who the hell was the usher. Do you get what I mean? It was one of those kinds of times. One might say, hey man, I don't care about them, I'm leaving that business and all of that stuff. Puff took this kid to the hospital, you know. Why did he take her to the hospital? Man. This is a nightmare for the rich and famous in Hollywood. You don't want to have to answer questions about your time on his boat, but that's what might happen. Also, this isn't just about music. We are talking about actors, athletes, and leaders. Everyone knows this guy, and no one wants their name to get mixed up in the mess. Some of these people are doing everything they can to stay away. In the blink of an eye, even his famous parties, those glitzy white parties, went from being iconic events to lessons learned. Owned by a black man. Sweet Home Alone, it's way too cozy. What do you want to do? Want to be a boy? Puff. Do it again with Tony Busby. He's made it clear that he won't stop with one person. He wants everyone who had something to do with it to be in court with him. Some very well-known people have already been sent demand letters telling them they need to pay up soon if they want to stay out of this mess. And he said that some famous people have already paid money to keep quiet about this. We need to talk about the dirty laundry. Busby's made it sound like these famous people will have all of their dirty laundry aired if they don't pay. People are already talking about photos from Diddy's parties, like the one of Cuba Gooding Jr. That is being looked at closely. Could pictures like these get more people to join the trial? Of course. Who knows what might happen once those pictures are used as proof? The fact that many people who used to be happy to be seen with him are now rushing to get away from him is already clear. Mel's Drive-In, the famous old-school Hollywood diner, quietly took down the pictures of him that were on the walls not long ago. These people also don't want to be linked to this. In reality, everything is just one big domino effect. Some A-list actors are settling down quietly, while D-list actors are trying not to get caught up in the drama. Everyone else in Hollywood is on edge, waiting to see where this all ends. It's not just his job that's in danger because of his upcoming trial. All of his expensive and well-known friends are too. There's no telling who will point to next if he gets stuck. The issue surrounding Sean Diddy Combs is no longer just about one man's bad behavior. It's blowing up to show something much worse and bigger. Hotels, banks, and businesses of all sizes are getting caught up in the mess. It gets even messy from here on out. These businesses didn't just stand there, it looks like. At the very least, some people may have been helping out behind the scenes while they were making money. First, let's talk about the main point of this whole thing. Well-known freak-offs. These were not your average parties. Imagine fancy hotels full of famous people, where it was hard to tell the difference between a party and a horror show. There were apparently crazy events that were caused by drugs, where people felt forced to do all sorts of bad and illegal things. Who was in charge of these? Of course he did. But here's the catch. He wasn't by himself. These days, it's being said that big hotels knew exactly what was going on in each room. Why? Because these places were making a lot of money while all of this was going on inside them. When we talk about fancy hotels, you'd think the staff would be all over something like this. How does an important guest throw a private party with drugs and no one notice? Answer. It's likely that they did, but no one tried to stop them. These places had a lot of cash coming in because rooms were booked and services were paid for. This made it easy to look the other way. Why go after a client when they're making you money and making your brand famous? Even worse, some employees may have known about it and thought it would be best to keep quiet. Busby has said that quite a few people in the business world are more than willing to overlook this behavior. Some may have even tried to hide it by making sure the police and the press stayed far away from these hoaxes. As more and more lawsuits are filed, the hotel chains are facing what could be very serious financial effects. Just think about the damage to your image. If the courts find that they knew about the crimes, they could have to pay a big settlement. Then there's the business of banks. One question that might come to your mind is how banks fit into this. Like this. They aren't really in the room at these parties, right? That's true, but look at the money. Diddy's parties were fancy and cost a lot of money. Putting on big, over-the-top events that last several days doesn't come for free or cheap. Some people think that financial institutions may have been involved in handling shady deals. They might even be in charge of hush money, bribes, or the money used to pay for drugs at these events. When huge amounts of money are being moved around in ways that don't make sense, banks are required to report this behavior. But if they really wanted to please a famous client, they might have ignored some of those warning signs. There's no way to know for sure until the case is over, but it's not a crazy idea to think that the same bank is in charge of Diddy's business company. The dirt might have stayed under the rug for another reason. It's not just hotels and banks. Some people think that drug companies might be involved as well. Some of the victims tested positive for strange drugs, such as drugs that calm horses. Yes, you read that right, drugs that calm horses down. You can't just pick these up at any old drugstore on the street. If these drugs were given to or used at Diddy's events, then pharmaceutical distributors or suppliers might have to answer some tough questions. The light gets even worse here, Palmer. If big businesses were adding to this mess in any way, they could be held responsible as well. Greed is a strong driver for businesses. When dealing with celebrities who are worth a lot of money, it's easy to see how things could be ignored in return for a steady flow of cash. The chickens are now coming home to roost. The skeletons are coming out because of Busby's cases. We think that more people than just Diddy will be caught in this judicial firestorm. The cases will not end anytime soon. Busby has said that he will be suing in more than one state, and it's not just for what happened at Diddy's parties. Between the 1990s and just a few years ago, these lawsuits cover a wide range of years. With each new case, more companies may be named. Now, it's not just a matter of whether these hotels and banks will lose money in court, it's also a matter of whether they can handle the damage. No one wants to stay at a hotel that's known for drug-filled parties or trust a bank that doesn't report suspicious money moving through their accounts. This is the very last bit of ice. What the truth is. It will be shown in court. Just wait until you think you've heard everything there is to hear. Movies coming out in the next few months might be some of the most interesting ever. Many big names are trying to stay out of the spotlight while he's ready to spill the beans. The entertainment business has a lot at stake. Hold on tight. Very real and quick. Hold on tight, things are about to get crazy. We're not going to talk about another star fight or fashion faux pas here. We are going to get into the kind of mess that makes publicists earn their pay. Some dirty secrets are getting out, and the important people involved are probably not happy about it. Truly, when a famous person is in trouble, their fans will do anything to defend them, even if the proof isn't very strong. It turns out that some very important new information is coming out about his ongoing court problems. The lawsuit isn't just about a famous person, it has arrest warrants, hidden alliances, and all the other exciting stuff you'd expect from a Hollywood blockbuster. Lawyers are telling the truth, and some well-known names don't look good. This play is about who is jumping off the ship and who is going down with it. For him and the people close to him, could this be the start of the end for the group of celebrities who have been in charge for years? That's why we're here. Tony Busby, the tough Texas lawyer, is out for blood. He is defending more than 120 people who have serious charges against him. And the best part? He says that his so-called friends are rubbing their hands together, editing posts, and acting like they never knew the guy. We're not telling you to drink, we're just happy about life. Do you get what I mean? Anyway, it's Friday now. Okay, we're orange. Drink in moderation. Thanks. I mean, with an orange, you get the idea? Fuck a lime and a lemon. We make ours with orange juice instead of tequila. Sosky, yes, who about the black man? About a black man. About Black your dad. I love you. It's so funny when friends who aren't into the weather delete Instagram posts. Getting rid of your digital trail is the best way to say I'm innocent. Busby says that some of these friends are even passing around hush money. No need to say their names, but this whole thing feels like a ship going down and everyone is running for the lifeboats. Case after case has been brought against him since he was arrested. His A-list friends may have known about his bad behavior, weird parties, and lies for years. Who wants to be linked to such a big scandal? This group of friends is now working hard to get rid of any evidence that they know each other. Busby says they have everything: texts, pictures, movies, you name it. Getting rid of receipts faster than you can say lawyer, now it's too late, the receipts are here, and they're juicy. Busby isn't afraid to say that a lot of people are scared to death right now because they had something to do with it. He's only beginning, so don't get too excited. How many big names will fall when all of these facts are known? That's the real question. It's like watching a game of Jenga where any move could bring the tower down. He is also not saying anything. Erica Wolf, who is his agent, keeps saying that they're not going to respond to these false charges. What is Wolf's plan? Think of everything as a show for the media. Sure, because if your client's life looks like a soap show, it must be the viewers, right? At the same time, Busby's number for victims is going crazy. More than 12,000 calls in 24 hours. What that is not just a floodgate, it's an earthquake. The sheer number of people who have reached out shows that this story is about a lot more than just a few false claims. They were ready to try to get these victims some kind of justice while also building a stronger case against him. The best part, though, the well-known names that are being dropped. The name of Prince Harry is linked to this incident, even though he is not thought to have done anything wrong. It looks more like he was caught up in the wind. Really, that's the last thing he needs right now. The CEO of Universal Music Group is Lucian Grange. People say he knew about the tricks but didn't do anything about them. Yes, act like you don't know the storm is coming until it's too late. The name Cuba Gooding Jr. comes up just when you thought things couldn't get any stranger. He's been named as a defendant for some shady behavior on a boat, it seems. They said it was all silly, which is pretty bold coming from someone who has been through a lot of trouble in Hollywood. There's also young Miami. She was seeing Diddy at the time, but she says she doesn't know anything about it. She says, I wasn't there at the time. Yes, that sounds good. What do you think someone will say when they don't want to clean up after their ex? This scandal isn't just bad for jobs. A long, ugly shadow is being cast over everyone who was even slightly in the same path. And if the accusations are true, the person could spend a lot of time in jail. That sentence could end your job, and there will be consequences for everyone else involved. It makes you wonder how many more names will be revealed before this is over. Also, don't forget how Lucy and Grange's lawyers reacted to the claims. These claims are not just being fought to be thrown out, they are being called. They're angry and say they'll go after the lawyer who filed the charges. That's how things work in the world of the wealthy and powerful. Don't just refuse, destroy, but things look bad. After the arrest, there is more going on than just a court case. There is a full-on war of how people see things. Paul Callan, a former lawyer in New York City, says the person being charged is in a lot of trouble. They could spend the rest of their life in prison if they are found guilty. Callan doesn't think they'll get life in prison, but 10 to 20 years would still be enough to stop their greater-than-life image. Even worse, bail has been refused, which is not common for someone of this importance. The lawyers told the judge that this person would either run away or, even worse, scare witnesses if they were let out. It's no longer just a civil matter. In the eyes of both the government and the public, the question is whether recovery is even possible. There are more than one person involved in this situation. People who are close to them and the system that lets famous people live in a bubble until it all falls apart. One thing is clear: this case is going to court. The effects will be terrible. Everyone in the blast radius will lose their jobs, their identities, and their lives. Who will be clean and who will be found in the mess? There are a lot of rumors going around the internet, and people are reading them like it's the latest episode of their favorite TV show. But here's the catch. There are people who believe these conspiracy ideas to be true because they love a good scandal. Let's look at some of the craziest ideas that might be right. To begin, let us talk about the body double idea. This crazy idea says that the accused person wasn't actually jailed. Someone who looked like them was sent to take the blame. To be honest, the idea that one of the richest and most well-connected people in entertainment would stage their own mini prison break moment sounds almost like a play. While the body double is getting cuffed in a fancy hotel room, the idea is that this person has so many resources that they could do a Houdini and sneak away while sending a fake to trick the cops. It sounds crazy, right? But lots of people are eating it up. Take a look. It's not just about whether or not they were jailed, it's also about making up a story that's bigger than life. People who think that celebrities are somehow above the law, like the idea that someone could pull off a stunt like this and fool the whole court system. And let's be honest, a lot of people want this to be true because it's more interesting than the boring truth that someone got caught. Finally, there is the Epstein link. You read that right. Some people have linked this incident to the notorious Jeffrey Epstein, and not just because they ran into each other at a party once. The person being charged is said to have been involved in some of Epstein's more shady activities. It's said that they were part of a special group that went to parties where all kinds of illegal things happened. Many people say that Epstein's home in Miami, where these parties were held, was not a normal place to be. We don't know for sure if they ever went inside Epstein's house, but this is where things get tricky. Joe Rogan and MMA fighter Israel Adesanya joined in, giving the impression that this person was connected to a much darker side of show business. At one point, Adesanya said he was glad he didn't go to one of their parties, the Elite. As Rogan is known for stirring up conspiracy theories, he said that the fact that this isn't being talked about in major media must mean that there's a cover-up going on. What's the real deal? Some people think that unlike Epstein, they might sing under pressure and name all of their wealthy and important friends. This fits right in with the public's desire for a famous person to fail. They're not just wanted to fall. They want a whole country to fall apart. A lot of people have talked about their late ex-partner, Kim Porter, and the claimed journal entries she wrote about them that are very bad. A new book called Kim's Lost Words is said to have journal entries from Porter that reveal many dark secrets according to this idea. Some people even think that these posts were what really led to the arrest. It sounds like something out of a detective book, a mysterious book that came out right before they got into legal trouble. It's almost like the world was planning for them to fail. This whole thing is a lie. People who believe in conspiracies love the idea that there is a secret diary with all the answers. We live in a time when exciting stories are more important than facts, so it makes sense that this book is selling like crazy, adding to the idea that Diddy's public image has been a well-crafted lie the whole time. Some people think that Diddy's arrest has something to do with the real reason Kevin Hart and Jennifer Lopez broke up. Yes, tapes were reportedly taken during an FBI raid on Diddy's home. These tapes are said to include Lopez. In this story, those tapes were so shocking that they caused her and Affleck to break up. This idea is crazy because it fits so well with how much people love high-profile love stories. They've always been tabloid gold, and this story gives them exactly what they want. A juicy love triangle in Hollywood that is full of gossip. It's true that J.Lo's team said this was all nonsense, but that hasn't stopped this story. This is already a mess, but Usher has been pulled into it too. After Diddy was arrested, Usher deleted all of his social media accounts for no apparent reason. That might just be a coincidence to some, but to people who believe in conspiracies, it's a red flag. Most people think that Usher was trying to hide any ties to Diddy before things got too rough. Some people think that Usher knew something big was about to happen and chose to clean house online. Why get rid of all your information if you don't have anything to hide, right? Of course, Usher later said that someone got into his account and stole his music. When people start to think about conspiracies, they can't stop. Some people couldn't believe anything but the worst because the time was just right. Let's talk about a song that sounds like Justin Bieber now. Arrest That sounds like it's about a wild party at Diddy's house. As you might have guessed, Bieber sings about losing himself at a Diddy-hosted party in the song. It has been proven that the song is fake and was made by AI, but that hasn't stopped people from thinking that the words might hide something. It only made things worse that it came up right after Diddy was arrested. No matter if the song was real or not, a lot of people are sure that it was some kind of sign that something bad was going to happen. At Diddy's events, could this trial bring down some of Hollywood's biggest names, or is Diddy being unfairly singled out? Tell us what you think, and don't forget to like and follow for more.